Today's goal is 100 berries. You know the drill, smash that button to get that juicy fruit and hit subscribe for more amazing recaps. Now let's get into it. Everyone's just lost in their usual grind. Sungwoo steps off a packed bus, clearly tired from the ride. He does this rough commute daily from home, and his buddy Hanho doesn't miss the chance to mock him. Sungwoo might have toughed it out as a Special Forces Reserve Sergeant, but 2 hours of bus hell? Apparently, that's his new limit. Sungwoo fires back, reminding Hanho that he never even finished his service all thanks to a girl, Myung. That one shuts Hanho up fast, and they head to class, with Sungwoo feeling a little guilty about jabbing at his friend. Just as he's about to check in, Hanho's staring up, claiming he saw downloading monsters flash across the sky over the library until it hit 100%. Sungwoo brushes it off as Hanho being hung up on his ex or seeing things from too much gaming. Telling him to snap back to reality, they head to class. During the lecture, Sungwoo struggles to stay awake, and then total blackout. Suddenly, a system message flashes. They have to pick a survival class for the apocalypse, with a 15-second timer and a set of skills floating in front of them. Panic kicks in. Some students warn against touching anything. But Sungwoo's gut says not picking is even worse. He reaches for a warrior card, but Min-soo, a chubby classmate, grabs it first, instantly getting a sword. Rattled, Sungwoo randomly snags the card with the most stars, landing a 5-star Necromancer class that fuses into him. When time's up, Sungwoo and Min-soo are the only ones who picked cards. Min-soo's loving his new sword, but chaos explodes as a goblin-like creature clings to a student who stumbles into the class, crying for help until it kills him right there. The room loses it, everyone backing away while Sungwoo realizes Min-soo isn't much help. Sungwoo braces himself as the goblin lunges, and with one solid kick, he sends it flying. Weighing almost nothing, the goblin's easy prey, so Sungwoo grabs a chair, smashes it over the goblin's head, and kills it, earning 10 gold from the system. The class stares in shock, but Sungwoo quickly grasps that the world's transformed into a game. A new system message reveals that he can now command the dead. With a single touch, the goblin reanimates as his skeletal minion. Just then, 2 more goblins charge in, and Sungwoo commands his skeleton to attack, but the goblins start dismantling it. Sungwoo demands Min-soo's sword, but the guy's paralyzed. Dismissing him as deadweight, Sungwoo chucks another chair, buys his skeleton time to finish off the goblins, and gains another 20 gold. As more students realize something's off, Sungwoo opens the curtains to see fires everywhere. Some suggest escaping campus, but they run into more goblins. Sungwoo's skeletons charge forward, holding them off so his classmates can flee. It's survival time, and Sungwoo knows grinding these monsters will only make him stronger. After a few battles and 1 skeleton sacrifice, Sungwoo levels up, choosing a skill to control 1 more minion. Down the hall, Hanho freaks out over the skeletons, but Sungwoo explains they're part of his class. They're interrupted by a message granting a 10% fatal blow chance if 5 party members have daggers, courtesy of Hanho's new rogue skills. The next mob, led by a goblin chief, triggers Sungwoo's scent of death ability, weakening the goblins. The chief counters with Wild Berserker, pushing back the skeletons until Sungwoo orders one to sever the chief's arm. That shuts down the buff and the skeletons wipe out the goblins. Sungwoo even nabs a crude spear and the chief's berserker bracelet, his skeletons creaking in eerie excitement. Reaching the campus entrance, they find survivors. Sungwoo hides his skeletons to avoid spooking them, but a bully-turned-shield master, Jin-suk, declares himself the boss, claiming they need to hold the monsters back for backup. Sungwoo disagrees, believing help isn't coming, and he marches on, leaving Jin-suk fuming. Soon, they hit another goblin wave, and Sungwoo's skeletons spring into action. With Death Sand reducing goblin stats, Sungwoo's undead minions tear through them. 1 goblin flees, but Sungwoo hurls his spear, pinning it. Impressed, his classmates cheer him on, and the system rewards him a roulette ticket for killing 20 monsters, setting his rank to Infinite A rare achievement. He commends his skeletons, who respond with their bone-chilling sounds. Inside the cafe, he warns everyone, no rescue is coming. A student points out that the rooftop boss killed their professor, making it clear where they have to go. Reluctantly, Hanho joins him, needed for the knife buff, while Joseon, a 3-star tiger hunter, also steps up. Jin-suk, still making excuses, stays behind. Upstairs, they fend off goblins, with Jisoo swiftly slicing through two from behind. The last words of a dying professor warn them against the rooftop, but Sung-woo pushes on, fury driving him. As they reach the rooftop, goblins pillage student corpses, enraging Sung-woo and Jisoo, with the Berserker bracelet boosting his skeletons. Sung-woo unleashes them. Even Hanho gets in on the action, scoring his first kill and feeling like he's living in anime. But then the goblin captain rallies the goblins. Sung-woo's skeletons hold strong, yet they start falling under the captain's assault. Drained, Sung-woo plans his next move as Hanho flings two knives at the boss, barely scratching him. The boss's fury spikes, and he barrels toward Hanho, who's barely holding it together. Sung-woo's skeletons jump to defend him, but two of them get crushed in a single hit. One skeleton scrapes out a lucky shot, and as the boss deals with it, Jisoo seizes the moment and slices him, barely making a mark. Sung-woo realizes it's time to go strategic, uses his skeletons as decoys, landing a spear throw that grazes the boss's cheek. Now enraged, the boss crushes more skeletons, leaving Sung-woo with just enough mana for one last summon. Desperate, he spots a sword buried in the rubble and knows he's got to end this now. Grabbing the sword, he sends his final two skeletons charging in. They don't last long, but just as the boss is distracted, the third skeleton leaps with its sword. The boss deflects it, but Sung-woo's move was all about activating sword synergy. Now, with Jisoo himself and the skeleton armed, they trigger a 50% weight reduction and 10% attack speed boost. Sung-woo dives in with a chair, and the others follow. Hanho even manages to stab the boss's arm with a knife. Sung-woo orders his skeleton to strike, and, in a shocking twist, the skeleton, his first goblin kill, slices the boss's head clean off in one swing. They're rewarded with 255 gold, and Sung-woo levels up to 3. The boss's mana boosts the skeleton to an elite goblin, complete with a forehead tattoo and a commander attribute that'll come in handy with more summons. Hanho and Jisoo level up too, each snagging a skill card. Sung-woo's lets him create bone weapons, a nifty tool for summoning swords, clubs, and more. With his exclusive quest to avenge the professor complete, his destiny takes a slight turn, and he gains the capacity to summon 5 minions. Hanho's reward? A hood that boosts his chance to dodge monsters by 50%, though he's ready to fight. Jisoo gets a fire whetstone that might set her sword ablaze during attacks. Heading back down, they find Jin-suk fuming everyone, saying he should have gone with Sung-woo. He snaps, calling Sung-woo a fool who's probably dead. But just as he's ranting, Sung-woo's skeletons loom behind him, and he nearly jumps out of his skin. Sung-woo pushes open the entrance and casually calls him pathetic, sparking laughter from the students. Sung-woo urges everyone to follow him outside, where they see bodies scattered across the campus. He suspects goblins were behind the carnage. Hanho spots a group of survivors led by Daesung Park, the student council president. Daesung, claiming he can guarantee their safety, extends an invite to join him but insists Sung-woo first destroy his skeletons, labeling them creepy and a potential threat. Jisoo having none of it. She calls Daesung out for embezzling funds from the festival, exposing him as a hypocrite. Flushed, Daesung is speechless as she leads her party away. Later, Jisoo spills more details. Daesung was a spoiled rich kid who manipulated girls, some of whom were her friends. Furious, Hanho is ready to fight. Sung-woo suggests they cut through the hillside, where fewer monsters likely lurk. On the path, they spot an orc larger than the goblin boss. With a roar, it charges. Sung-woo, thrilled by the potential for new skeleton material, braces. The orc swings, but a goblin skeleton intercepts, taking the hit for Jisoo. The one-armed skeleton counters with a fierce slash, dealing massive bleed damage. Sung-woo's party flees into the woods, using the terrain to bait the orc, while Hanho and the skeletons unleash a barrage of knives. The orc smashes skeletons left and right, but Sung-woo keeps resummoning from nearby goblin corpses until he's out of mana. Two skeletons grab the orc's arms, giving Sung-woo and Jisoo a shot. Jisoo slashes its leg while Sung-woo hacks off its arm. The one-armed skeleton finishes it with a strike to the neck, netting them 110 gold. Sung-woo tries making the orc into a skeleton but fails due to his summon level. Instead, he crafts bone clubs for his skeletons to reach a synergy bonus, giving them all a power boost. He hands Hanho a sword, telling him to return it if things get rough. Approaching another blocked entrance, they get a new message. They must defeat a boss monster within 8 hours, or the surrounding creatures will power up. Another alert warns that an orc hunting unit has begun tracking them, with the size and strength of the unit based on the number of people in the party. Given their small group, they should face a lighter challenge, unlike Daesung's larger, noisy crew, who quickly attract the orcs' attention. The first assault begins. 5 orcs are after Sungwoo's team. Sungwoo sets up a trap with abandoned cars and skeletons. As the orcs approach, Hanho taunts them, calling them greedy pig bastards. And they charge in fury, straight into the ambush. The skeletons strike, knocking out the orcs with their club synergy. And Sungwoo's team finishes them off, earning 231 gold plus a bonus 100 gold for clearing the wave. Sungwoo levels up to 4 and picks a card that lets him summon 2 additional skeletons. Hanho unlocks a high-speed dagger skill, while Jisuyun gains 2 strength points. Seeing more orcs attacking a bus up ahead, Jisuyun suggests they coordinate with the spearmen inside, but Sungwoo doubts his willingness to cooperate. Inside, 2 survivors, Kyunsuli wielding a spear and another with a shield, are struggling. Just then, a cart loaded with skeletons crashes into the orcs, scattering them. The bus passengers panic, mistaking the skeletons for even worse monsters. Hanho bangs on the bus door, assuring them they're allies. The spear wielder explains they can buy items using gold collected from monster kills via an E-rank shop inside. Sungwoo tries his luck on the gold roulette and scores a legendary item, the Tear of the Sea Spirit, which boosts mana by 200 and recovery by 200%. Perfect for summoning more minions. He also spins the silver roulette, gaining a Vanguard shield, while Jisuyun picks up a second-place bronze sword, and Hanho gets a potion bundle. As they rejoin the fight, they spot Daesung's team struggling on the sports field, overwhelmed by orcs. Sungwoo's team races in with the bus, ready to crash through the chaos and give them a fighting chance. Kyung-soo-hee, the spearman, drives the bus with a grin as gold racks up for each orc killed. Meanwhile, Hanho and the skeletons are clearing the way, knives flying. As the bus screeches to a halt near the survivors, Sungwoo calls for them to board. Jisuyun slashes an orc, and thanks to the fire whetstone she picked up from that rooftop boss, the orc ignites in flames. The remaining orcs fall fast, Sungwoo and his minions handling them with ease. When the fight's over, Daesung and his so-called awakened buddies try to board, but Sungwoo blocks them. He knows they tried using the others as bait to escape. Daesung fumes but stops short as an angry roar echoes through the area. A system alert follows, announcing the orc chief's rage over the failed hunt. Sungwoo's face tightens. He knows he'll need all the help he can get. With reluctant pride, Daesung accepts his offer but balks when Sungwoo demands his chainmail as a fare for protection. Grudgingly, he hands it over, and Sungwoo equips it on his oldest minion, a one-armed skeleton he calls Raiti. Raiti, struggling with the chainmail, stands as Sungwoo gives a final word to the survivors. The orc chief is done with waves. Now it's an all-out war on humans. A survivor mentions seeing over 100 orcs gathered in the gym, sending ripples of fear through the crowd, some even receiving penalties for losing the will to fight. Sungwoo dismisses the exaggeration. There aren't nearly that many left, and he volunteers to fight them himself. Daesung's lackeys smirk, figuring he'll be digging his own grave. Even Jisuyun points out that facing so many alone might be reckless, but Sungwoo's already decided. Escorting the survivors to safety, he heads off with his minions, with his allies watching from the bus, ready to jump in if needed. At the sports ground, he encounters a massive group of orcs led by an enraged, red-haired orc, clearly a mid-level boss. The red-haired orc commands his troops, but Sungwoo takes a defensive position on a narrow staircase. He triggers his bracelet skill, Wild Berserker, giving himself and his minions a temporary boost against goblin-type enemies. With their knives at the ready, the skeletons launch an assault, dropping orcs quickly. But the red-haired orc deflects the attacks, forcing Sungwoo to order a switch to bone clubs. The orcs push back hard, overwhelming the skeletons until Raiti, furious at seeing his comrades fall, nearly leaps in. Sungwoo holds him back. It's not his turn yet. Instead, Sungwoo reanimates the fallen orcs, now skeletal warriors, and with a synergy boost from their matching axes, they tear through the orc ranks. Unlike the living, these skeletons don't tire, creating an endless stream of undead orcs that keeps the battle in Sungwoo's favor. From the windows, The survivors are stunned at the sight, and his friends on the bus cheer him on. Sungwoo's legendary item, Tear of the Sea Spirit, is a game-changer, his mana regenerating at lightning speed. The remaining orcs hold strong, but Sungwoo signals Raiti, who dives in and finishes off the last of them in seconds. As the dust settles, Sungwoo receives a new roulette ticket for slaying 100 monsters, pushing his rank to infinite status, a rare achievement. But before he can catch his breath, a crash at the main gate signals another Struggle Daesung's group has been captured by a pack of orcs. Sungwoo rushes toward them, inspiring other awakened bystanders to follow. Inside, he finds Daesung and his friends held captive by a shaman orc, now acting as their leader, surrounded by the bodies of other monsters. The scene's grim. Daesung, terrified, pleads for help, but Sungwoo coldly reminds him he got himself into this mess. As Sungwoo's party charges, the orcs start slaughtering Daesung's crew in some twisted ritual, powering up the boss. The reinforced shaman unleashes Breath of Abyss, a confusion-inducing aura that drains mana. Hanho drinks a potion to clear his mind and offers one to Sungwoo, but Sungwoo waves it off. The curse has the opposite effect on him, pushing his mana to an insane 4,000. He hands the potion to Jisuyun instead. With his boosted stats, Sungwoo now commands 50 minions. The boss, thrown off by Sungwoo's unexpected power, watches as Sungwoo revives every fallen monster in the room, stacking synergies as each minion's weapon matches those around them. Overflowing with strength, Sungwoo orchestrates a storm of attacks. The orc shaman smashes several skeletons, but they revive immediately, relentless in their assault. Temporarily transformed by Breath of Abyss, Sungwoo looms over the shaman, terrifying the boss, who tries to escape but is trapped by the surrounding undead. In a final attempt to fight back, the boss lunges at Sungwoo, only for Raiti to step in and decapitate him in one clean swing. Sungwoo's reward? 1,055 gold and a level boost for Raiti, who now ranks at level 3 with improved defense and commander attributes. Hanho spots an ominous item emerging from the boss's mouth, a devil attribute orb, bound to require heavy sacrifices to remove. Still, Sungwoo claims it, as its mana-leeching abilities align perfectly with his Necromancer skills. With his boosted stats fading as Breath of Abyss wears off, he exits to the crowd's cheers as the gate seal lifts, signaling the end of their campus tutorial. Outside, the scene's just as chaotic. Kyung-soo-hee, the spearman, offers to take them to a nearby military base with the 2 buses he's secured. But Sungwoo waves him off, making an excuse about living nearby. All the survivors pile onto the bus, but Hanho and Jisoo stay back, choosing to stick with Sungwoo. Sungwoo, ever the joker, turns to Hanho, suggesting he should give up an arm to max out the synergy with his one-handed skeleton. Righty. The moment's cut short as Kyung-soo suddenly stops his bus, eyes wide. Up ahead, a swarm of dragons swoop down, zeroing in on the second, slower-moving bus. The dragons pluck it up like prey, slaughtering everyone on board in seconds. Sungwoo and his team stare in grim silence, watching the scene unfold. Breaking the silence, Sungwoo looks at his companions and says, "From now on, we're hunting the monsters getting stronger, or we end up like those guys." With that, Sungwoo leads them off, eyes set on their next target. The goblins stand no chance, fleeing as Sungwoo and his undead minions close in. After the final blow, Sungwoo's system pings with another level up. Now he's at level 6, and he picks a strength boost card, adding 3 points to his power. Outside, Jisoo finishes taking down her 9th goblin, and Sungwoo nods at Hanho to gather the daggers. "All right, team," he says. "We're switching to orcs. They're tougher, better XP, and the rewards? Worth it." Their search for orcs leads them to a grim scene. A few military vehicles scattered around, bodies of fallen soldiers clutching their field shovels in a final stand. Then, Movement A soldier is still alive, though clearly confused by the sight of Sungwoo's skeletons. Sungwoo steps forward, dispelling his doubts with a quick explanation. He'll need everyone on board if they're going to survive what's coming. The soldier reports back to Sergeant Kim about Sungwoo's party. Kim's situation is rough. He's injured, stuck in his vehicle, legs slashed by a goblin he managed to take down. Sungwoo, curious, asks why the military is fighting with shovels instead of guns. Kim explains with frustration. The guns stopped working, which is why the military is in such bad shape. Hanho suggests giving Kim a healing potion, but Sung-woo hesitates, thinking that free handouts aren't ideal. Kim, sensing the hesitation, offers information in exchange. He warns them about monstrous wolves, huge as bulls, that wiped out entire squads, and mentions 2 blue QR codes. He spotted one at the bus station, the other at the subway transfer center. Scanning one installs a survivor communication app on your phone, the only way to stay connected. Satisfied with the trade, Sung-woo hands him the potion. Kim invites them to join him as he reunites with the main unit, but Sung-woo, wary, declines. As a farewell warning, he tells Kim about the dragons that hunt moving vehicles. Kim and the soldiers' faces pale, but they thank him and the 2 groups part ways. At the bus station, Sung-woo's party scans the QR code, installing the app. An announcement flashes on screen. The game officially launched today. In the first round of class selection, 2,967,821 were chosen as players. Only 1,341,122 remain. A second round of class selection is set for 3 days. The message board costs gold 1,000 to post, 100 to comment, so it's empty until a new post appears, claiming that level 8 players are building a safe zone at H apartment in Hwasong, near Han Ho's place. Intrigued, Sung-woo plans to go, though he's wary, being only level 6. But as they start toward H apartments, the post is deleted, replaced by another calling it false information. A glimpse of the author shows fang teeth, giving him a vampire-like look. Elsewhere in the city, a father fights to protect his daughter from goblins, swinging a baseball bat and calling for help. A knife suddenly whizzes by, taking down a goblinet's Sung-woo's minions, who quickly dispatch the rest. Sung-woo offers to escort the pair safely home, but the father explains they just ventured out for food. Sung-woo shares some of his rations with them. 2 goblins dart into a basement, but the father warns them against following, calling it a place of horrors. Undeterred, Sung-woo's team heads in, discovering it's the Elder Slime's shrine. They face a swarm of slimes, each kill yielding 140 gold. Though corrosive to metal, the slimes can't melt bones, making Sung-woo's skeletons their perfect predators. Suddenly, the Elder Slime boss emerges, crushing one of Sung-woo's skeletons. Sung-woo stabs it with a bone spear, and Jisoo tosses a skeleton toward him, which Sung-woo quickly breaks down into more spears. The slime tries to retaliate, but an orc skeleton steps in, shielding Sung-woo. This skeleton is carrying a bag of bones, a jackpot for Sung-woo, who crafts a barrage of spears, piercing the slime boss repeatedly. Righty finishes it off, netting the team 2,255 gold. They collect the potent slime mucus and an elder slime core, which holds a highly concentrated acid, perfect for fusing or dissolving objects. Meanwhile, Han Ho spots troubling new posts on the app, with chaotic reports from the H apartment. Anyone who arrives has their comments mysteriously deleted, and both Han Ho and Sung-woo sense something dark going on. At night, a group of thugs discuss their twisted plans. They earn 500 gold for killing ordinary humans, but taking down a player yields 1,000 times their level in gold. Their leader, a bald thug, mentions their true boss, Professor Red, a serial killer who transformed him into a vampire. He's halfway through explaining when one of their lackeys reports fresh prey in the park. 3 targets, waiting. Bald Vampire grins. It's their 17th hunt, and the H apartments are the perfect hunting ground, where residents keep quiet and prey is plentiful. But when they get there, the prey turns out to be skeletons in disguise. Sung-woo's minions shift to bone spears, piercing the car. Sung-woo smashes the window and drags the bald vampire out. The thug transforms, trying to fight back, but Righty chops off his hand, leaving his lackey terrified. Under pressure, the lackey spills details. There are 8 others inside the building. But before he can say more, bald vampire beheads him, disgusted at his own weakness. Sung-woo, watching the vampire regenerate his arm by drinking blood, realizes the vampire's class might be even more gruesome than his own. Sung-woo rallies his team, ordering them to fall back as the vampire enters berserk mode, boosting his stats, but with a steep penalty, he'll weaken considerably afterward. The vampire lunges at Sung-woo, dodging attacks from skeletons and deflecting Jisoo's sword swings. Han Ho throws daggers in rapid succession, irritating the vampire, who tries to charge him. Righty parries the blow, nearly decapitating him, but the vampire escapes. Sung-woo blocks with his shield, which shatters under the force. After more back and forth, Raiti seizes the opening, slicing off the vampire's arm again. Reinforcements arrive for the vampire, but even they hesitate at his monstrous form. Jisoo hacks off the regenerating arm once more, while Sungwoo's orc skeleton serves as bait. Sungwoo stabs through the skeleton, his sword driving straight into the vampire's neck, and finally finishes him by decapitating him. They earn 1,000 gold for the kill, confirming Sungwoo's suspicions. H apartments were a trap, with players hunted for gold and experience. As the vampire's lackeys surrender, Sungwoo interrogates them, learning their real boss likely holds a 5-star class, granting him the power to turn others into monsters. Upon hearing they'd killed 21 or 22 innocents, Sungwoo orders his minions to finish them off, gaining another 5,000 gold. Hanho and Ji Soo-yoon are shocked, but Sungwoo calmly explains it's to protect other innocents. They reluctantly agree, understanding the grim reality. The next morning, a post appears warning others about the murderers at H apartments, claiming a player with skeletons took them down. Sergeant Kim reads it and smiles, certain it's Sungwoo's party. Other survivors chime in with appreciation, though no one knows Sungwoo's real name. In a ruined building, a mysterious figure reads the comments with a grin, then heads out with a purpose. Hanho brings Sungwoo's attention to a new post from a player named Prosecutor. It's a call for others to share missing person updates, synergy tips, and anything that might help other survivors. Sungwoo's group, finally reaching Hanho's apartment, finds the place littered with dead orcs. Hanho anxiously calls for his parents at room 202, and they rush out to greet him safe and sound. Surprisingly, his dad didn't choose a class card despite his love for card games. He opted out. Sungwoo, baffled by the scattered orc bodies, asks how they defended themselves. Hanho's father sheepishly admits he used pesticide spray, and everyone stares, dumbfounded. After a warm meal, Hanho's mother thanks Sungwoo and Ji Soo-yoon for keeping her son safe. She brings them green tea, and Hanho, eager to impress, brags about his achievements. His mother promptly tells him to shut up, much to the team's amusement. Outside, some biker gang members eye the lit windows, plotting. Inside, Jisoo enjoys a post-shower moment in borrowed pajamas, thanking Hanho's mom. Meanwhile, Sungwoo, Hanho, and Raiti take a well-deserved shower of their own. Watching the family, Sungwoo feels a wave of relief, grateful that Hanho's parents made it through safely and lucky enough to witness this brief moment of peace. Hanho's father, armed with nothing but pesticides, had somehow managed to fend off orcs, no small feat given that orcs rely heavily on their sense of smell. Sungwoo can tell Hanho is thrilled to have found his parents alive, but he warns them all. This place isn't safe. Those orcs were mere scouts. If the main group arrives, it'll be an all-out massacre. But the bigger problem is they have no clear destination. Just then, another post pops up from the prosecutor. He shares that a friend, a 3-star pioneer, has created a small monster-free zone at Yeongdongpa Station. But there's a catch: survivors must pay in gold or rations to help maintain the pioneer's resource-draining skill. Sungwoo, while skeptical, knows there's truth to it. The world has indeed become a game, but it's too far to take Hanho's parents there safely. Another comment by Section Chief Gu, also a 3-star pioneer, claims he's set up a safe area at Hwasong Fortress, just a 20-minute bus ride away. The group decides to head there in the morning. On their way, Hanho's dad mentions some delinquent thieves who've been terrorizing other survivors. Sungwoo, already irked by the growing chaos, braces himself. Sure enough, a gang of delinquents on motorbikes shows up, a cocky girl at the front addressing them as geezers and demanding their resources. Before Sungwoo can signal his hidden minions, a low growl interrupts,